Okay, recording and streaming started.
All right, here we go. Let me look down through here. Okay. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 173, recorded on March 29th, 2018. On tonight's episode, we discuss the fact that Dragon Quest XI is not coming to the 3DS, but it is coming to the Switch only much, much later. Also, third-party docks are bricking Switches across the nation. We'll tell you which ones you need to avoid and so much more. Zach, Justin, whoever, just cue the music.
In post. Okay, 45. Greetings, welcome to episode 173 of Nintendo Dads, recorded on March 29th, 2018. So it's going to be a lonely show tonight with just myself and our friend from the South, Marty.
Hey.
Hey.
I could not come up with anything better there.
Neither could I. So
well,
it's going to be one of
okay.
those shows.
Hey, and it's totally fine. I woke up this morning, and it's as we're recording this, just a time reference here. It's 10:48 p.m. my time. I woke up at 3:30 this morning my time for no reason, and could not go back to sleep.
Oh no.
And it was like one of those like, oh, it was bad. And I'm gonna tell myself, dad moment here. My son lost a tooth yesterday, and about 4:30 I realized that wink wink nudge nudge, I never unlocked the door to let the tooth fairy in. and the tooth fairy was just hanging out outside, wanting to come in and exchange those teeth for money. And so I had to go let her in at 4:30 in the morning, right after I dozed off from being awake at 3:30 in the morning.
See, in our house, it was kind of like Santa Claus. He can go through locked doors.
Yeah. Well, apparently Southern tooth fairies can't. They're just not very bright. Too much Bud Light. That's what it is.
Is it like Dwayne Johnson?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's not like Dwayne Johnson. At least I hope it's not. If I had walked out into my den and seen a large man in a tutu standing there, I probably would have screamed.
You would have 3-3'd.
Yeah, not good. So, hey, you know what? We should probably talk about Nintendo.
Yeah. So it's just the two of us tonight. Justin wasn't able to make it, and Zach is normally out on his every other Wednesday or every other Thursday. So, and we kind of teased at the fact maybe I should bring my son on. I'm like, no, I don't think that'd be a good idea.
Not because we don't like your son.
No, it's just that he talks less than I do.
Well, and then it would just be me, and it would be like I'm running monologue of just me, and I don't know that anybody wants that.
I don't know. Okay, so let's. Okay, so again, we're doing music edits in post. So let's go to the news.
Let's do it. And Jesse, the news is brought to us by this week and every week by Patreon.com. And we want to say a huge, huge, huge thank you to all of our patrons. It does not matter if you give $1 a month. It does not matter if you give more than that. You are playing a huge part in making Nintendo Dads what it is. And we're very, very grateful for you and thankful for you. With that in mind, Jesse, don't you have some news about Retro Rewind?
Yes. So we decided that with the scheduling difficulties, looks like it's just going to be me and a few guest slots. We will record Wednesday next week, so April 4th. That'll be the Retro Rewind, and then we'll do a normal show on the 5th, where we'll have another guest. I'm not sure if we're ready to announce that yet or not, but I'll just leave that hanging. So our guests with the Retro Rewind will be the Nintendo directors. I've mentioned them, I think, a few times earlier or last year when they started their podcast with episode 3001. So that's kind of like a running gag. So it'll be Retro Rewind 3018 for us or something like that.
Wow. There you go. Hey, and you know what? Let it never be said that we are not current here on the show, because I just got an email notification that we have a new Patreon patron.
Wow.
Deontay Hancock. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for being a patron of the show. And next week, I'm gonna interject this and say this too. Next week, on the show, we're going to reveal the next 2 games that are going to be going up against each other for Retro Rewind. And here's a hint: they're not going to be RPGs. And it's not because we don't like RPGs. It's just we just did one, and there's all kinds of other stuff that's out there right now too. And there's this little game that is coming out this month for a Nintendo system that I know a lot of people are hyped up for, and that's God of War. And so I know that there's going to be a little bit of distraction this month among other games that are coming out. So we'll let you know what we're going to be choosing from next week on the show.
Right. So I'm going to try to get another 1 or 2 live streams of Final Fantasy before we record next week. So if you have any comments or questions regarding Final Fantasy VI, feel free to email, send a tweet. We'll get it in our notes so we can bring it up on our show next week.
Like a really cool way that you can participate in Retro Rewind is to tweet us and let us know, why do you love this game? Especially those of you who voted for it and wanted it to be played and wanted it to be the subject of a Retro Rewind. Why? Because, yes, I mean, we can all sit here and say it's one of the greatest JRPGs of all time. It was fantastic. But why? Right?
Especially if you have anything to say about the soundtrack, because considering the Nintendo directors, and yes, they are musicians. They direct middle school, high students. So that's their background is music, and kind of mine too, but not as deep as theirs. So we'll definitely be talking about the music.
As someone who deals with middle schoolers on a daily basis as well, Godspeed, you beautiful gentlemen.
As they say it.
That's all I'm going to say.
One of their taglines is, we wave sticks at kids for a living.
Yep, that's pretty much true. Hey, Jesse, let's talk about some news.
Let's do it. So speaking of RPGs, we have sad news for Nintendo owners and not so sad news for PlayStation owners. The Dragon Quest XI was officially announced for North America to be released on PS4 and PC on September 4th. Then they also they said that the 3DS version will not come outside of Japan, and the Switch version is still coming later. Much later, I think is the quote.
They said much later. They did not give a time frame.
Yeah, so they basically said it's likely not this year. So if you're a Nintendo fan of Dragon Quest, you are the sad and the disappointed like me. And I don't even know how I'm going to get this on the PS4, just because I don't have the opportunity to sit down and play it as much as we demonstrated with Final Fantasy VI. I haven't gotten as far into the game as I wanted to in the last 2 months.
Well, here's the thing. Are you disappointed more that it's not coming to the 3DS, or are you disappointed more in the delay?
I think I'm more frustrated about the delay of the Switch version. Though this was actually a game I was thinking about double dipping, just because if I remember right, the PS4 and the Switch versions will have the game in its high res 3D models, but the 3DS, you kind of have a choice between its lowish resolution 3D models or playing it as 2D sprites, kind of like the older. You had that choice. I think early on in the game you saw both, and at one point you make a decision on which way you want to play it, and then you're stuck with that for the rest of the game. So I wanted to see both sides of that, but now we're not going to get that side.
Right, and I definitely understand how that can be frustrating.
But yeah, it's I can get the PS4 version, but I probably won't because I'm not going to have much availability to play it. So I'll wait until the Switch version comes out.
And here's the deal. let me go ahead and beat the drum that everybody knows I'm going to beat. This is just another sign that there's not much coming for the 3DS. I'm just saying, like, why would they not take the opportunity to do this when presumably Dragon Quest 7 and 8 sold pretty well, right, on the 3DS?
I thought so. At
So
least I enjoyed them.
why not do it? I mean, if Nintendo's in a boom time, which they are with the Switch and the 3DS, why not do both versions when you can collect? Unless I'm just going to throw this out here. I've been thinking about this, and a lot of people think that I hate the 3DS, and I don't. I love the 3DS, and it was when the Wii U was failing me. It was like my primary Nintendo system. You know, it was everything that I could hope for because it actually had games. You know, but I really think that Mario and Luigi remake, you know, Bowser's Inside Story, that's going to be it.
That yeah,
I think that's like the swan song game.
because I remember my prediction was there wasn't even going to be a Nintendo release game in 2019, so that bombed that. But yeah, I wouldn't surprise me if this is the last one.
Yeah, like what was it? Was Paper Mario's Color Splash was the last one for Wii U, right?
The last exclusive, I think. You know, of course
Like
they had Breath of the Wild,
Well, yeah,
but that
yeah.
was shared with the Switch.
Right. And so like I don't see like any. I would think that we might get one or two more ports, and like I'm definitely interested in Luigi's Mansion and picking that up because I love that game, but I'm probably not gonna pick up Inside Story, even though it was my favorite of all the Paper Mario's or
Yeah.
Mario and Luigi's.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to double dip on that either because
But like
I bought Superstar Saga remake, haven't had a chance to play it yet, so that's in my backlog. I think I have 2 or 3 games in the Switch in my backlog as well.
yeah, I mean, ultimately, this just like if you were a person who was waiting for this on 3DS or you don't have a Switch yet, this sucks for you. And I get that. Like, I don't understand why they're delaying it. Like, is it the translation's not done?
Well, see, I don't even.
It got translated for the PS4.
See, I don't think the Switch version's even out in Japan yet, is it? I didn't think it was.
I don't think so. Is it out? Is the PS4 version out in Japan?
Oh yeah, that came out last year. You know, PS4
Oh, wow.
and the 3DS version was out last year,
Oh, okay.
but I don't think the Switch version came out. I should look that up. but I
I'm
don't know.
looking it up right now as we speak. uh, yeah, I don't. So is this? Let me ask this: is this a for the Switch? Is this a worldwide release date?
I would hope so. I know there are some games that have come out in Japan differently than the rest of the world, but most of the time they're worldwide releases. Like, you know, Odyssey was worldwide. You know, so the
Right.
big games will generally be worldwide.
Yeah. So this has not been released in anywhere for the Switch. That's why I ask that. So yeah,
So,
even the Japanese market is not getting this until quote much later.
Now, it would be nice if they added the 2D sprite version into the Switch. I'm not holding my breath on that, though.
Kind of as a thank you or like a
Please understand.
please understand, right? Here's the thing about Dragon Quest games, and this may be the point where you just like kick me off Skype and say that you're done and I'm kicked off the show. Like I love the art style of it, and I think they're beautiful games. But like that whole game, like that whole game play, I guess mechanism. It doesn't even interest me.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I cannot do another turn-based RPG, and I like turn-based RPGs, but I've tried Dragon Quest, and it just did not. Like I love Dragon Quest Builders. Does that count?
See, yeah, that's the thing about these long-standing, especially the RPGs, is they tend to be samey, which, you know, some good, some bad. But you know, they like I like the way Dragon Quest even handles some of their sound effects. They still use the up and down stairs effects from the first game, and I think that's still awesome that they do that. But so it's those games that once you know the mechanics and you're used to it, you can play any game and it'll be fine. But if you can't get into those mechanics, it's hard to play any game. Like I had a similar problem with Persona at first. I tried playing Persona 3 when it was new, didn't get it. Then I played Persona 4, I got it. Went back, was able to play Persona 3 now that I knew what I knew from 4, and then I played 5. So I've played 3, 4, and 5. I played 4 twice, actually. Once on the PS2 and once on the PSP. So once you know the systems, it's easier to do it. But if can't get a grasp on the systems, that makes it hard.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I can understand that. Yeah, like Alexis, the founder of VG Tribune, he never liked turn-based RPG. As soon as the turn-based shows up, he goes, "Nope, I'm not doing it."
Well, I almost feel guilty. Like I'm looking through screenshots of this game. I'm like, wow, it looks really good. And then I think about playing it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can't.
They're taking like what they learned from doing like Dragon Quest, like the
Heroes,
the Heroes games.
Mm-hmm.
They getting the high definition models for the players and the monsters. So I'm sure a lot of those assets got worked into 2.11.
Yeah,
because the last time Dragon Quest a numbered Dragon Quest was on a console was 8.
and that was for the PlayStation 4, correct?
Well, PlayStation 2.
Oh, 2.
Yeah. Well,
wow.
I guess 10 technically, but that was Japan only. That was PC, Wii, and Wii U. Yeah, but 9 was handheld, and 10 never made it out of Japan, and this, here's 11.
So what? Like, I guess hearing that, like, what do you think this means as far as Square Enix's support for the Switch? And do you think that this is a sign, or do you think that maybe this is just one that they didn't think would perform well?
I think this ended up biting. They tried biting off more than they can chew. Obviously Dragon Quest games are big. They're 100-hour games now. Even Dragon Quest 8 was a 100-hour game back in the PS2 era. So and even this was technically the first game announced for the NX. And I think Nintendo World Report joked, or it might have been them, but I saw a joke on Twitter saying the first game announced on the NX is going to be the last game released on the system. It better not be. But yeah, it was they announced that when they announced Dragon Quest XI initially, they had said they'd like to put it on the NX. And this was a year, just a few months after the whole NX soft reveal in the investor briefing.
Right.
So before anyone knew what it really was.
Gotcha. So just to recap, we've got Dragon Quest XI. It's coming to the Switch eventually, which is much later, according to Square Enix. Not coming to the 3DS at all outside of Japan. And it is coming to the PS4 and PC on September 4th this year. Completely localized, completely ready to play.
There's apparently like a hard mode in the North American version that wasn't in the original Japanese version.
Okay.
So they are doing enhancements to try to do what Western gamers want, quote unquote, Western gamers want, which kind of a bloated statement because what they want is normally what I don't. Yeah, they did say that they wanted this game to be more Western friendly, which I don't know what that means.
Making it harder just because it's coming over here does not make it friendly to me. Sorry.
Okay. Well, they're not making the whole game harder, just a harder mode. They'll still have the normal mode outside of the hard mode.
Right.
That's how I understood it.
So,
but
in your
we've
opinion,
seen things like Dark Souls, So
that's true.
I think that's the precedence behind that.
That's true. Let me ask you this, and we'll move on because there's other stuff. Do you think this is a 2018 game at all
For Switch or
for
for
Switch?
no, because if the PS4 PC version was something like June or July, then I'd say maybe. But after once this releases in September, there's only 3 months left before the end of the year. So, I I would if I were to throw a guess on it, I'd probably guess summer to fall of 2019.
I think that's a very fair guess,
Yeah,
and we'll see if you're right.
9 to 12 months is usually what it takes to do like localizations at this level, presuming they start after the game had finished. But here it's not really localizing for the Switch, but just getting it to work on the Switch, which is technical issues.
Yeah, yep. And look, the thing is that I am all for more games on the Switch and even more games on the 3DS. I'm just all for Nintendo winning everything. Sorry. I'm all for Nintendo winning, but like I really still don't I don't understand why this is taking so long, but fair point that you make. That's not going to be a 2018 game. It's going to be 2019. And I think you should make that one of your predictions in the prediction show at the end of the year.
I'll try to remember.
Yep. Release date for Dragon Quest XI. That's a softball for you, Mr. Waldak. You can take that and get points, and maybe you'll win the prediction show.
That'll be a
this
first.
year with that. Yeah. So anything else that we need to talk about? Any other news?
There's a few other things that I jotted down. This one I wouldn't have normally put, but just because it's so similar to the Toys R Us story, I thought I'd throw it in. There's a UK video game retailer called Grainger Games. Then the original story yesterday was they were closing a third of their stores. So they had about 60-ish stores, so they were closing 21 of them. And then the story came out earlier today. Oh, no, they're all closing. So Toys R Us isn't the only game retailer that's getting the shutdown.
Well, what you have to remember is that I think this just shows us that Hermione is not good at selling video games.
I didn't even think that when I saw the
She just
the
needs
name.
to stick to wizarding.
Yeah.
And if she'll do that, she'll succeed.
And stay away from animated remakes.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think this is kind of a big. I wouldn't surprise me if I see more of these stories coming in the future, because we got the digital distribution getting bigger. We have the Amazons and the Walmarts taking up a lot of the brick and mortar, and the GameStops and Amazon with the internet sales. That's where most of the games are being sold, I believe. I don't have any data. I'm just kind of
think that
saying what I see.
I think there's a lot that contributes to it. Toys R Us was doing their best to stay afloat, but you can't stay afloat when your company's sinking and you continue to shovel giant bonuses into the into all of the leadership of said company.
Yeah, that's always shady.
And the thing is that it's kind of like, I know we got a year left, so let me get a really sweet bonus in this last year. Oh, but we need to save the company. Yeah, right. And I think the way that you do lead out of those situations is exactly what Satoru Iwata did when Nintendo was in trouble. Cut my salary by half. Let's keep people employed. And he was a fantastic example in that. Yeah. Unlike a lot of CEOs of large companies that ironically are the ones who are failing, because Toys R Us had chances to save themselves. According to what I've read, they've had multiple chances to pull themselves out of this, and they just made bad decisions, just dumb decisions. And I want to say something here. I want to correct something. I saw on multiple groups, like when Toys R Us started liquidating everything, I saw multiple groups like people saying, "No wonder they shut down. They still are trying to sell 2-year-old games for full price." Go to Walmart and look in the game case, and I guarantee you at most Walmarts you will still find a copy of Wii Music. And it's being sold for $50. And I saw somebody report on that this week, and they said the reason it's still $50 is because they took Wii Music out of their system, and now they can't clearance it out. So it will just sit there forever until it falls apart. This picture that I saw on the Nintendo voice chat forums was the front of it had been so faded by fluorescent light, it just said Wii. That's
funny.
like there were no music notes, there was nothing. It was just Wii. And you could see faint outlines of things. But Toys R Us did not, like, as a chain, yes, they were large, but they're not Walmart large, so they don't get to be able to sell things that they buy for the same cost that Walmart can. Right. You know, so everybody would say it's more expensive at Toys R Us. Well, yeah, because they can't offer you that super giant conglomerate by and large discounts like Walmart can. So there you go. I'm gonna miss Toys R Us. It was my childhood, and I'll never forget going in. And I hate it for people who are, you know, my kids are growing up and now all kids are growing up in an age where there's no Toys R Us and there's no Saturday morning cartoons. What the crap? You know, they're never going to know the joy of being so excited about the Adventures of Super Mario Brothers 3 premiering on Saturday morning that they literally could not sleep the night before and kept waking up every hour. Or maybe that was just me.
I think that was just you.
It was. I was so excited. and I was flipping out when it came on. Anyway, so all of these stores are closing. But thankfully, you folks over in the European Union and UK and everything, you guys still have the wonderful retailer Game that you all love so much. I'm saying that sarcastically. Yeah, because I see so much hate for it online.
Shellshock Prime says it was also him. Onameister says Toys R Us Canada is still alive, and that's true. Canada stores, I think, are not closing. It was just United States stores that was closing. And Deontay says that he was hoping to load up on Amiibos at Toys R Us, but they only were at 5% off, and all Animal Crossing.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what. There's going to be some of those Tom Nook Amiibo that are there until the day that store closes.
Yeah, I saw
nobody wants them.
I saw a picture of there was probably 75 Amiibos up there. Almost all of them, like 70 of them, were Animal Crossing, and about half of those were Tom Nooks. And they actually did have a Yarn Yoshi, and I think they had the Splatoon Sisters 2-pack, and they had the 3-pack with KK Slider and the 2 goats that no one cares about.
They're llamas.
Llamas?
They're llamas, Jesse, and somebody cares about them. I'm sure.
I don't. I bought it for KK Slider and on a discount. That's the only reason why I have them.
I like the llamas. I'm sorry. I do. They're some of my favorite Animal Crossing characters. I don't know why. I cannot tell you why. I can't tell you why I like the llamas. But you know what I think somebody needs to do? I think somebody needs to buy up all of those Tom Nook Amiibos, and they need to turn them into a zombie horde of Tom Nook zombies. And make a zombie diorama with them. Like
that would be awesome.
Like them devouring KK Slider. That would be fantastic.
And Mr. Rossetti.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, look, we're going to completely derail this entire episode. I don't know. You can call it like you could call it the Walking Nook. I don't know. Anyway, I just think it's justice for the fact that Tom Nook has gouged prices for us all these years. And now look at you now, Tom. You're on discount. Anyway, so anything else?
All right. So the next item I have is a user on Reddit called Intoxitus5 shared like an article written by someone else, and I don't even know who the original source was, talking about potential reasons why third parties stocks are bricking Switches. and there was a few quotes in here that was, let's see here. The Nintendo Switch dock USB-C power supply is not USB PD spec compliant. No idea what that means, but it says it's not compliant. As a result, it does not play nice with other USB-C devices. This means you should strongly consider only using the Nintendo Switch dock adapter only with the Nintendo Switch and dock. Additionally, it also seems the Nintendo Switch dock does not play nice with other USB chargers. This means you're forced to use a Nintendo branded power supply. So apparently everything isn't as USB-C compliant as we thought.
True.
Which probably explains why like the standard USB-C to HDMI converter that you'd get with your Macintosh computer doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because they played games. True. They played games with the protocol.
So apparently right now most of the reports of third-party docks breaking the Switch are coming from Nyko. And when we say most, I would say 90 to 95% are coming from the Nyko travel dock. The Insignia one that is being sold at Best Buy seems to be a little bit better. And there haven't been any reports of the Ojo, portable projector breaking switches.
Yeah, I actually asked about that on someone on Twitter, and apparently that Ojo is made with Nintendo parts.
Okay,
so it might be safe, but again, I can't speak for sure. But that is something I want to get, and I definitely, if I get it, I don't want it to kill my system.
So if it's made with Nintendo parts, then why didn't Nintendo just make one? They'd be sitting on a gold. I mean, oh my gosh. Sometimes Nintendo is so stupid. Like that would have been, how cool would that have been? You could get two SKUs. You get one with the standard dock or you get one with the projector dock. Come on. I would have sprung for the projector dock.
I'm sure I would have too. Again, I'm still thinking about it, but it's just that now lingering in the back of my head saying this might not be a good idea.
Right. So I would say this with Nintendo of issuing an official statement on this, with Nyko having to come out and issue an official statement on it, and even though they're not like clearing up why it's happening, with all of the kind of where there's smoke, there's fire. If you're using a third-party dock, let us here at Nintendo Dads be the first one to tell you, stop it. Put it away. Go trade it in like one of our patrons did this week and get your money back and go buy a regular Nintendo dock, which I think now is pretty much regularly being sold for $60 to $65 in most retailers. They're pretty much clearance across the board. Walmart's got them on clearance. Target's got them on clearance. GameStop has them on clearance. I don't know why. Maybe we're getting another dock or Nintendo's doing a portable dock. I don't know. I don't think they would. I think they want you to use it as intended, as their statement says. But don't do the portable dock. And if you do, understand you're doing it at your own risk. And that 175-hour Zelda file, that's what you're risking, right?
Right.
You're risking having to start all of those shrines over with nothing but Link in his underwear and a big stick. That's it.
And in my case, I have about like 180 hours worth of puzzle games.
Yep. You don't want to do that. I'm telling you, it like you were taking your life into the life of your Switch into your own hands. And you can say that's being dramatic or whatever, but you are. I just use Nintendo stuff. Like I'm fine with like using a different charger for my Joy-Cons or whatever, because Nintendo doesn't make like officially Nintendo branded unless you want to count the Power A or PDP stuff. I've got Nyko stuff for that. But if somebody if somebody told you, like think about it this way. If somebody told you that blender over there will cut your finger off 5 out of 10, or like 6 out of or 7 out of 10 times that you put your finger in it, right? Are you going to stick your finger in there? Probably not.
And that doesn't sound like a good idea.
Yeah, I feel like that's what some people are doing with the dock. Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And their save data get, like, or their switch gets bricked and they're like, oh, I wish I'd have listened to people. Just don't do it. Do what I did. I had the Nyko dock. Do what I did. Put it in the trash. Throw it away. Be done with it. And somebody reminded me of that this week. They're like, I'm listening to the episode of Nintendo Dads where you recommended the Nyko travel dock. And I was like, yeah, don't listen to that anymore. We didn't know. We didn't know then what we know now. Now, stay away. It's a terrible product. Don't risk your $300 system for a $40 dock when you can get one for $60.
I'm hoping that whatever was done in the OS to cause this to start happening can be undone in a future update. But again, one of those not holding by my breath. And even if it does do it, will they say it?
Right.
They're usually very cryptic to non-existent in their patch notes anyway.
Well, and ultimately what we want is we want Nintendo to play nice with everybody that wants to make accessories for the Switch, right? But we also have to understand that Nintendo wants to make your money. They want your money for their own stuff, right? And if they want to sell you a $90 dock, that's not really cool if somebody's going to sell you a $40 dock.
Right.
And I'm not saying that they purposefully did this, but I'm not also saying that they didn't purposefully do it, if you get what I mean.
Right. People have been saying that about, like, back in the Wii era when a lot of, there was a lot of updates that the entire intention was to try to stop the homebrew community and the piracy involved with that. And someone actually dug into what was in the EULAs, and it basically said Nintendo had the right to brick a system, and it was Nintendo's right to do so if they wanted to.
Okay.
I don't know if that's in the Switch.
I don't know if I agree with that, but on that note, let's move on and let's talk a little bit about our last item of news.
So, Nintendo of Italy posts
Speaking of cryptic
picture on Instagram featuring Donkey Kong. I pulled it up, and it's like a little figurine of Donkey Kong surrounded by 2 eaten bananas and 1 ready-to-eat banana, and it has the words in Italian, "There's no 2 without 3." And another question is, what does that mean?
There's no 2 without 3. That doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't.
There can be a 2 without 3. It's there. It should say there cannot be a 3 without 2.
Yeah, just look at Valve. They have lots of 2s without 3s.
Maybe that's what it meant. Maybe, yeah. Oh, you're going for the low-hanging fruit tonight. That's good. I like it. Yeah, nobody's ever going to get that game. Valve is never going to make that game. Stop thinking they're going to. So here's my question: Is this Donkey Kong Country Returns 3?
I literally have no idea. This is confusing.
This would be a Justin Masson question, and this happens on the week when he's sick.
Right. So we may have to bring this up again next week.
I don't know that he's sick. I know he may be like at Nintendo Italy's headquarters right now, trying to figure something out. He's parked outside. He's waiting in a Donkey Kong suit with a bag full of banana peels. What does it mean? No, this is what happens when Zach and Justin aren't here, by the way. But yeah, it's pretty cryptic. Very telling that the other Nintendo, social media accounts around the world have not said anything about it yet. And, I did see this online earlier. Somebody said, well, now we know what Retro is working on. But didn't Nintendo pretty much say that Retro is not working on a Donkey Kong game?
I seem to remember something along those lines.
I want to say that they pretty much said it's not what you think it is. It's not Donkey Kong. And I hope it's not, because I love retro and I love what they did and how they did Donkey Kong Returns and everything. But like, they don't need to just become the Donkey Kong company, you know? Like, I would love to see them do other things. And I would love to see some other companies' takes on Donkey Kong.
Onomeister is taking it to being there's no 2DS without a 3DS, and that so Retro Studios is working on DK3 on 3DS. I don't buy that.
No, what I thought was that when he said that was that there's going to be Tropical Freeze on 3DS.
That I think is still a possibility.
I think that could totally happen, but I don't know.
But yeah, I don't think there's going to be a new Donkey Kong game on that system.
But I mean, another way to look at it too is, are they releasing Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze to drum up interest for a new Donkey Kong game on Switch?
Donkey Kong Mobile.
Oh. And you know why I say that? Because mobile gaming sucks. Like, have you tried to play Fortnite on your phone?
I have not ever tried to play Fortnite anywhere.
It's bad. It's just like it's serviceable, but it's not the best. It's kind of like.
Speaking of Fortnite, it's being played right now behind me. You can't see it,
and
but
I
my
would
son's playing.
I would much rather play that version. I would much rather play it on my Switch. But
if it was on the Switch, I'd probably give it a try. Especially if they keep the freemium model.
Oh, and I think they will. I think that it'll be.
I would actually give that a try.
And it's a lot of fun. I mean, it definitely feels like you're playing a Hunger Games episode. You know, when you're playing it, it's great. I love it. But like, I try to play it on my phone, and it's terrible because the controls are garbage. Because mobile gaming sucks.
So Deontay just said something in chat that may cross an NDA on someone, but he says a developer at Retro comes to my store every now and then and constantly tries to constantly get something out of them. All he told me that he thought Nintendo would have shown their game a long time ago, so he doubts it's Donkey Kong.
Oh, okay, cool. I hope it's not, and not because I hate Donkey Kong, Justin, because I know you're going to listen. I love Donkey Kong. He's a personal friend of mine. Stayed at my house once for a week back in '99. He's a perfect gentleman. I definitely have him over again. Totally fine. So Jesse, that's the news. You want to talk about some games? Let's do that.
Let's do that. Let me get a timestamp. So 42. Alrighty. Where are we? I have to find myself in the notes.
That's fine.
Okay, there we go. So let's start with you. What have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing 2 games this week that I can talk about now. One of them is Slayaway Camp Butcher's Cut, which is a game that I had first talked about on this show. I think it's been many months ago when I asked, can I mention a non-Nintendo game that I've been playing and even a non-console game? This is a game that I actually played first on iOS. And basically what Slayaway Camp is it's a puzzle game where you play the villain in a B grade horror movie. And your job is to slide around this room and kill everyone and then escape through a portal to hell to the next level. So
family friendly.
Oh yeah, totally family friendly. And like in the first level, as soon as you start playing, as soon as you kill the first person, it lets you make a decision. Do you want to play like the PG version, or do you want to play the R, like the adult version?
What's
and
the
adult
difference?
version, so the difference is
Or
if you
do
play
I
the
not wanna
like
know?
the younger version, I guess, or the censored version. That's the word I'm looking for. At the end of each puzzle, there's like a timed reaction kind of thing where you're like the sliders going back and forth, and you have to stop it in the red. And if you do, you kill like you'll have this person, and it'll be like a different method for killing them. Like you'll either like sneak up behind them and cut their head off, or and the thing about like when you talk about this is everybody in this game is represented as a block, okay, with like little stubby arms and legs. So it looks like everybody's just a big fat Minecraft block. So you have this killer.
So we're talking like in Intellivision-ish graphics.
Yeah, kind of. And so like he saws the top half off of a block and it's their head. Or he, in one of them, like one of the killers that you can unlock is the angry substitute teacher. And if you do, like in one of the kill scenes, he kills a student by throwing a bunch of pencils across the room and impaling them with him. It's just, it's like, it's super ridiculous. And the music is like this 80s synth horror movie, bed of just gobbledygook nonsense music, and like this foreboding like that you would hear watching Freddy or Jason or anything like that. And the cool part about it is as you go, it is a puzzle game, so you have to figure out like, if I slide over here, what options am I going to have? Because your character, once they slide in that direction until they either hit a character, hit a wall, hit an obstacle, right? And the game will introduce more obstacles as you go. Like at first, you're just sliding around killing people. But then you're killing people, and there's police officers. And if you stop in front of them, they'll bust you, and the game will be over. And then later on, those become SWAT officers, because the regular police officers, if you hit them from any other side than the front, you can kill them. Well, the SWAT guys you can't kill at all unless you turn out the lights, which is another, and it kind of builds progressively on each other. They introduce mines.
So do they have like more like range abilities than the standard police officers or something?
Yeah, they have like laser sights.
Okay.
That shoot across, and so if you stop anywhere in that laser sight, they shoot you and kill you. There's like electric fences and mines and holes in the ground and water hazards and fire. And then they introduce cats. And there's levels where you cannot kill, like you can't kill cats ever, because if you do, animal cruelty pops up on the screen. It's like game over, animal cruelty.
Wow.
And so, but like there's an element.
So killing pixelized humans is fine, but not felines.
Yeah. Can't kill the cats. Yeah, totally against the rules. So the one of the rules in the game is if you stop next to a victim or an animal, it will scare them. And like say, sliding into them will kill them. But like if you slide down and you're in between one or next to one, it'll scare them and they will run, right? So there's going to be like ways that you can't let them escape, or you can't make the cat run and it go into the fire in the corner, or all kinds of other stuff. It's totally, like, it sounds like such a weird concept, but it's so much fun. Just in the way that you, and it just keeps adding more and more stuff. Like I think I'm on. I've been playing for. I've put a lot of time into this game, like 5 or 6 hours, and I'm on Slayaway Camp 8 or 9. And in the last one, it was Slayaway Camp Takes Manhattan, and the killer was dressed in a hot dog costume. And so you were this big giant hot dog sliding around killing people.
A pixelized hot dog.
It's absurd and it's funny, and it's like you can leap in and play a few levels. And there is a change from the iOS version, and that is that in the iOS version you could pay for hints, and you could like pay for like with real money. Well, you can't do that in this version. So just like in the iOS version, you would score extra points and get coins if you timed those end of the level kills right. In this one, you just get that just by timing those kills. Okay? And you can unlock new characters, and there's tons of them. There's tons of levels. And it's, again, I think it's called Butcher's Cut because it has like every available thing that you can buy or download for the iOS version. And this is in the eShop right now for $14.99. and it's totally worth every penny. If you like puzzle games, I just said last week the Switch is low on puzzle games that aren't Picross, right? And so if you're looking for a cool puzzle game, this is definitely going to be like one you've never played. I totally recommend it, especially if you're a fan of that kind of cheesy B-grade horror movie genre. Then this is going to definitely scratch an itch for you in a big way. But the other game I've been playing is called Clusterpuck 99. And
nice name.
Yeah, it is. It's basically air hockey on steroids.
Oh boy.
And so the basic premise of the game is that you control a it's not a puck, but you can control I don't even know what they call those things. You know what I'm talking about? The things you hold
like the hammer part, but
yeah,
I don't know what they call it either. But
you control that, and you can move around, and you can kind of like smack into other characters. You can smack into other players and make them lose the puck, because if you touch it, you kind of start bringing it with you. And then your job is to get it across the room or the level and shoot it into the opponent's goal. Pretty simple, right? Except for the fact that there's bombs and mine or spikes.
Of course there is.
And yeah, all kinds of other stuff going on in these levels. And it's a very fast paced. And so far it's a ton of fun. The only thing that I can find wrong with it is that you cannot play it by yourself unless you want to just play AI challenges, right?
Okay.
And it says that it's for up to 8 people. So 8 people can play on one screen at one time. So you can, and of course, split Joy-Con, right? And it's very simple. You have 1 or 2 buttons that you manipulate, and that's it, along with the stick. So this is totally a fun game. The only thing about it is that it drags a little bit. And I was playing with some AI, and there was probably a 7-minute period we didn't score. Nobody.
Really?
Because, and what will happen is your puck will get caught in a corner or on something, and everybody will just kind of cluster around it, pun not intended, and just kind of hit each other, and it just kind of bounce, it just keeps bouncing around between all the player, all the players, and it just goes nowhere, and it kind of feels a little boring.
You're you gotta tell everyone to back off. Let me get it out first, then mod it again.
Yeah. And so, I'm going to do a video review of this and put it up on the YouTube channel sometime over the weekend, hopefully. But as of right now, I haven't put enough time into this game to say whether or not you should get it yet. But I think if you do like puzzle games and you've got a bunch of friends that you're going to sit around with, this is one like Astro Duel Deluxe or Mario Kart 8, games like that. That's not Jackbox, if you're not into that you can play couch co-op locally. Party Golf comes to mind. That's another one. If you like that type of thing, you're going to like this game. But just check out our review over on YouTube later on this weekend and see if it's for you.
Yeah. Onomeister asks if you played the 8-player local player, and if it is, how fun is it?
I haven't been able to because I don't have 8 people in my house.
You don't have 8 friends.
No, I do. I do have 8 friends, Jesse. Thanks a lot. I saw this book at Target the other day about dinosaurs, and it was called "All Your Friends Are Dead."
Yeah.
And my son,
I think I've heard about
picked
that.
it up, and he thinks it's the most hilarious thing in the world.
I think
my
I've heard
10-year-old
about that.
son, he's like, "Hey, Dad, it's all your friends are dead." And now, anytime he sees a dinosaur, he's like, "All your friends are dead." There you go, episode title. Anyway, no, I haven't gotten to play it yet. In fact, I've only booted this game up 2 or 3 times, and it's just because this has been a crazy week of non-video game playing for me, honestly. So I'm gonna try it out a little bit more over the weekend. And Justin also has a copy of this game, and we're not entirely clear because, again, not 8 people in the house, if you're able to play this with fewer than 8 people, because the menus aren't really clear on that, if that makes sense. It advertises itself straight up front as an 8-player game. So if it does, and I don't have 8 players, does that mean I can only play the challenges? I don't know. We'll watch our review and find out.
Alrighty.
Now, Jesse,
All right, so
I want to know there's a game that you've been playing that I'm very anxious to hear about.
yeah, and I will not start with that one
Ah,
just
okay.
because I want to build the suspense a little bit more. So I'll talk about one of the games that released today is called for the 3DS is Witch and Hero 3. It's again as it sounds as a sequel to the previous two Witch and Heroes, and the I think it's like $4 or $4 or $5, so it's pretty cheap, and it's a relatively small game, just like the other two were. When the game starts out, it kind of gives you a kind of a quick little story prologue, which directly mentions the events that happened in the first two games, and then in the bottom it says, "Please play the first game. Please play the second game." So I thought that was kind of cute. So the gameplay is kind of similar to what it was in the second game. Is uh, you're the hero and you have a friend which is a witch, which is cursed from the first game. So she's pretty much a stone statue, and as you fight, so she stays in the middle of the screen, and if she dies, that's the game over. If you run out of hit points, you're just knocked down for a few seconds as you refill your health, and when you're full again, then you can run around and continue. But if she goes to zero, that's the game. So as you kill the enemies, you're collecting XP gems, you're collecting money, and you're collecting drops of blood. When your blood meter fills up, you can deliver the blood to your friend, which she will then wake up and can use her magic abilities for a short-term basis before she turns back to a stone, and then you just repeat the process until you finish each level. But midway through, you come across the little hero, which is a character that was introduced in the second game. The whole point is you're trying to save the little witch, which a character from the second game, who was kidnapped. So the little hero ran off to try to save her, but forgot a few things. So then the main two characters catches up to him and delivers the items that he forgot, and then so all three of you continue. So kind of the added, what's new with this game, once you get to the little hero, is you have the ability to have, there's 3 different play styles for the little hero. You can have manual control, so you can control the main hero with left analog stick. You can control the little hero with your right face buttons, to try to control both at once. And I'm lousy at that, so I haven't chosen that option. The other 2 options is the little hero can follow you or guard the witch. That's usually what I've done, is had him staying with the witch, so because all the enemies start on the outside and go in towards the middle, towards the witch. So then the little guy will just kind of run and poke him, kind of push him back. And the combat is just like the other games. Is kind of like the original East game. There's no push to sword. It's just run into them, and then you both take damage. And once your hit points is gone, then they're dead. So then each enemy does certain damage with a certain amount of pushback. And that's one thing that's frustrating with me is sometimes the creatures will drop a chest. The chests have a random hit point, so sometimes you can literally be poking that thing for 10 seconds before it opens. Sometimes you just hit it once and it opens. But those chests have like 5 times the knockback of a monster. So you're moving, even it doesn't sound like a lot, but half an inch. But on the little screen, half an inch is a good chunk of the screen between every hit. So that's why partly why it takes so long to open those chests. So and then the levels get harder, with enemies that hit you harder, bigger swarms of monsters at once, just can sort of overwhelm you. And actually, the game does have noticeable slowdown if there's too much stuff going on the screen at once, which is excuse me, which is kind of surprising for how it's not a very graphical game. Once 1 second here. I'm going to mute. Ah, well, that was weird. I'll try to remember to cut that out. All right, I'm not done with it yet. I think I'm late in. I don't know how many levels there are, but I'm around level 25. But it's a relatively short game, and I kind of it's I've enjoyed the first 2 games in the series, so far I'm enjoying the third one.
That sounds really cool. I mean, $3.99 for the game.
I think so, $3.99 or $4.99.
It's what I just looked it up. Yeah, $3.99. About how long are these games, hours wise?
2 or 3 hours each. They're quick. Yeah.
So if you're in the mood for that style of game, for like a role playing game or a strategy game, and you don't want to put a lot of time into it, these are perfect.
Yeah, it's a game you can buy and play through in a weekend easily.
Right. Cool. So what is this other game that you have been playing?
This other game that I'm trying to not talk about is Detective Pikachu.
Is this because you don't want to talk about it?
Well, let's just say it's not the game I thought it was going to be. I was kind of expecting something kind of like Ace, like Ace Attorney-ish, but more on the investigation side. But I'm not very far into it. I may be about an hour in, and someone says the big question is, will they port it over to the Switch? Talking about the Witch and Hero, it'd be if they did. They probably should do like all 3 games in one big bundle. That'd be probably a good idea. Anyway, back to Detective Pikachu. The game is like written like the intended audience is a 5-year-old. It's it's kind of pandering is not the right word I'm thinking of, but it's probably close. It kind of feels like Dora the Explorer, the way she kind of like every little thing is like super overly good job. Yeah, it kind of I wasn't amused, and
you found a clue. Good
right.
job.
So like one of I haven't
that was supposed to be Detective Pikachu. Good job, kid. Now I'm going to have some hot coffee.
That actually happened. But
no way.
Yeah, you come across a coffee stand and he has a coffee. But so here's an example.
This Pikachu is out of control.
Yeah, actually they do kind of joke around a little bit about the low voice. Apparently, the character you control, Tim. Actually, let's back up. The game starts off with Pikachu literally wandering the streets of the city, trying to find someone who can understand him. Everyone just hears him talk like a normal Pikachu would be talking. But so then the main character Tim shows up, and somehow magically he's able to understand this Pikachu. But,
so does that mean that like only certain people can understand Meowth? Are we in on the joke? Like when we watch the Pokemon cartoon, are we? This is kind of blowing my mind here, Jesse.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that's going to work. Anyway, so
this kid's a Pokemon whisperer, is what you're saying.
But he can only hear the Pikachu. He can't hear other Pokemon. So when we want to get testimony from another Pokemon, Pikachu has to do the talking because Tim can't hear them.
10, this guy's dead, and Pikachu's is like an apparition of his dad. I'm just calling it right now.
I know. I think there's something there's involving Tim's dad, because Tim's dad is missing. That's why he's in the city looking for him. And when the Pikachu heard his name, he kind of had Tim, like he's heard the name before. So I think there's something going on there. But
Pikachu's his dad. I'm calling it. And I haven't read spoilers, so if I just ruined your Detective Pikachu game, I'm sorry.
Anyway, so here's an example of, or the game has, it's like dragging itself out bigger than it needs to. So again, I haven't even finished the first mystery yet. So the game starts off well with there's an apom, a bunch of apom goes nuts in the city, and one of them lands on Tim's face. So he's trying to reach it and ends up grabbing Pikachu by mistake. And that's when he heard, "Hey, you got me! Leave me! You got my ears! Stop me!" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir," thinking he was like an old man. So it turns out that one of the Apom steals a necklace, and now you're trying to find the necklace. As you go through the steps, then you find the Apom knocked out without the necklace, so someone else has it. But they find a dark black feather near him. So the first thing I think of is, okay, it's a Murkrow, because that's the only black feather blackbird with no other coloring I could think of. But this game makes me do the investigation to find out that there's four bird type Pokemon, flying type Pokemon that live in the area. I have to go around and actually find a feather sample from each one to compare it to the one and find out which one's actually it and not it. So it took like a half an hour to go through something that I knew in 10 seconds.
I'm gonna have to tell you, I had to look up what an Apom was, because when you first started talking about it, I thought you said napalm, and napalm flew in Tim's face, and that's his face was burning off, and that's why he grabbed Pikachu.
Oh, okay, so
an Apom is a purple monkey.
It's a monkey whose tail is like another hand.
Yep, I'm looking at that right now. It's real strange.
It is a strange thing.
That's not what I expected to be looking at almost midnight tonight. It's gonna throw
so yeah. So it seems. So my thoughts while I'm playing this is, if the kid's old enough to read it, they're already out of the age range of what the story is trying to tell, I think. So, which tells me this should have been a game that was voice acted.
Yeah.
Because if this is a game meant for younger kids who can't read, they're gonna they have to play it with the parents, and the parents are gonna get frustrated. I have been frustrated with it so far. So
you're saying that your time with this has not been what you would call excellent.
It's kind of felt drudgy. I wanted to play something else, but I still want to play as much of this as I can so I can talk about it on the show. So I still plan on putting more time into it. And I haven't even opened. I did get the amiibo as well, so but I haven't opened it yet because I'm still planning on recording an unboxing of it. So I hope to do that tomorrow. So I don't know what the amiibo does in the game.
Well, I just decided while you were talking about that to go and see what this game clocked in at Metacritic, and it's sitting at an okay 73, with a user score of 7.6. What do you think about that, having played it?
It's probably fair. It's not a bad game. It's just a game that it's it's definitely, I'm not the target audience. Everything seems like it's written for a 5-year-old.
Gotcha.
So, my son initially wasn't even sure if he wants to play it. Now, if I tell him what I told you, he probably won't want to play it at all. But, so I did buy it physical, so he can play it if he wants. So I'll still play through that. Maybe things will click more with me. But that's so far the first hour or so that I'm in. It wasn't the funnest of hours.
Fair enough. So, who would you recommend to this game for?
See, that's a tough one because it definitely meant for the younger kids, but the younger kid would need, as I said, would need a parent to do the reading for them, and I don't know if the parent would want to go through all that as much. Definitely would be a lot of bonding time. But it's I don't think it'd be very enjoyable for the parent.
Gotcha. So maybe steer clear of this one. There may be a reason that this didn't get localized and brought over to the United States. I had no clue. I was looking at this on Wikipedia that this was released in February 2016 in Japan.
Yeah, I remember we talked about it a while ago.
Right. So I mean, it's a 2-year-old game.
I didn't realize it was 2 years ago. But
Yeah. It's 2 years and a month old. That's pretty crazy.
So it makes me wonder how they're going to handle the movie. If they're going to keep it at that really young age, or if they're going to add some older humor in there as well.
Well, I mean, it's not going to have a Pikachu voiced by Danny DeVito, so
No, but still Ryan.
There's really no
Ryan
reason to go
Reynolds.
see it.
So it's still Ryan Reynolds. So
yeah.
they might do something clever with him.
Who knows? Maybe they'll dress him up as Deadpool in one scene.
I would be amused.
That'd be pretty cool. So that's what we've been playing. You want to dig into a few letters and then wrap the show up?
Sure. One second. I have a very strong feeling Nintendo Labo will also be very drudgy and meant for 5-year-olds, like Jesse said for Detective Pikachu.
Wow.
Ono Meister said that in the chat.
We'll find out in almost 20 days.
Yeah, I think Justin put in our calendar that there's something going on the 11th, so I think someone's got a hands-on. I just don't know.
He does.
That's him? Okay.
Yeah, he does. He's going to do a hands-on. And the cool part about that is everybody who goes gets Labo when they leave.
Nice.
So he's gonna have it.
Yeah, so and that's kind of what I figured. This is meant for the younger kids and with their parents to work with them. Not meant for my age, not meant for my kids' age.
I have already started prepping my kids, because they actually brought it up the other day, which I thought was pretty cool. They were like, "Dad, isn't Labo coming out soon? The cardboards." My daughter calls it that cardboard stuff. Isn't that Nintendo cardboard stuff coming out soon? And I was like, "Yeah, it is." And she's like, "Are we getting it, please?" So I told her we were, and I was like, "But look, we're not going to go build all, 400 hours of it the first day. You're going to." It was like, we'll start small, and then if you like it, great. If not, I'll build the rest. It's fine. And so she's really psyched up about the house, the little Labo house. And my son wants he wants the robot pack, but we're not getting that thing out the first day. I'm just like, it's not happening. It's not. I read somewhere that it takes like 3 or 4 hours to build. Forget it. That is not coming out that first day.
Especially since he's getting a pretty pricey birthday present that week too.
Actually he's getting it in a week or so. So his birthday's on the 9th.
Oh, okay.
So we're actually gonna celebrate on the 7th because that's when my parents can be here with us, and they help buy it. So we're gonna let him have it that day. And that's gonna be like freak out day. Like he's gonna anyway. Let's dig into a couple of these letters. I'm going to start here with.
Let me give some time for music. One second.
So here come the letters. Music.
Alrighty.
This one's from Blake Etheridge, and here's what he writes: "Dear Nintendo Dads, so I have an idea I want to put out into the world with the hopes that it comes to pass. I finally ended up grabbing an SNES Classic last week and have been trying all the games I never played as a kid, and I got to thinking, why isn't anyone talking about a new Super Mario RPG reboot? A portable system is perfect for this type of game. We've already seen Nintendo farm out Mario and get great success with Mario plus Rabbids, and the possibility of utilizing or at least partnering with a third-party developer with the skills to produce a first-class RPG game would be amazing. Think of the possibilities. 1, a mixture of traditional and modern RPG elements and styles. 2, the use of other popular Nintendo characters from other games. 3, having both 2D and 3D worlds with a mixture of both turn-based and real-time battle systems. 4, reuse of a number of old worlds maps from prior Mario and Nintendo games. And 5, puzzle solving using multiple characters. And lastly, 6, maybe some online modes or options. Since it's Mario and Crew, you aren't really restrained to a single mode or genre and can get fairly wacky. Of course, Nintendo could keep all this in-house and just make this the next Mario game in a few years, making a mixture of RPG and platforming. Instead of just playing it as Mario, you can be interesting to have a different characters with different abilities, and you can choose which character to play based on the level or obstacle, like Super Mario Bros. 2. These obstacles could almost be mini-games puzzles. Just imagine different outfits or armor actually giving different boosts or abilities. Then he finishes his letter with this. This probably isn't going to happen, but it would definitely be a must-play for myself. Hope you enjoy the idea and keep up the good work. I think that's an excellent idea.
I like the idea, though. It definitely would have to be something different than what Super Mario RPG was, just because Nintendo doesn't own all of the IP rights to that game. You know, all of the new characters, those are all Square characters.
Yeah, Mallow, Gino, sorry, and that is why. And I know that I'm about to make some Smash fanboys cry when I say this. Gino will never be in Smash Brothers. Stop it.
Well, we did have Cloud, so...
Well, that's true, but they're not going to put Gino in Smash Brothers. They're not. It's a dumb idea anyway, because he's the size of a toy. And, yeah, anyway.
Well, aren't they all toys?
I don't know. I don't know if they're all toys. I don't... Nobody.
That was the premise of the original game, at least.
Yeah, but nobody plays Smash Brothers for the story, unless you're talking about Subspace Emissary, and then that didn't make sense either. Anyway, I love this idea. I want another Super Mario RPG, and I don't want it to be made out of paper. I said it.
And I don't want any shiny stickers either.
No. Oh my God.
But I like the idea. I like the idea of, especially of the mixture of genres kind of going on.
I'm just going to say this. You had me at Super Mario Brothers 2. Give me Super Mario Brothers 2 as an RPG. Great. Let's do that. Remake the whole game as a turn-based RPG where you actually have to use your turns to pick up the vegetables and then throw them on your next turn. I'm sold. Let's do it.
So they're starting to... Sounds like you're kind of getting into some tactics and strategy going on in there too.
Yeah, that would be fun. Look,
if you have to spend turns to do actions in your middle of the turn,
it is a gross conspiracy and affront in the Nintendo universe that Wart has never been used as a character again. It is a travesty.
Well, twice.
I know he was in
Link's Awakening.
Yeah, but that's not Wart.
Sure it is.
Maybe it is. Who knows?
If the Japanese name, as it was in Doki Doki Panic, was the same name used in Link's Awakening.
I know, but I just like it. I mean, Nintendo at least give like Mouser and Wart, like at least put them in Mario Kart. I mean, come on. It's not like they're, it's like the Mario woke up and now they don't exist anymore, except for Bob-ombs and Shy Guys and all those other things that totally do exist in the Mario universe.
Right.
Conveniently.
Yeah, all those Shy Guys with straws in Color Smash that I wanted to strangle.
Anyway, Blake, here's the deal. We'll get you a job at Nintendo. We'll pay you to make this game, as long as you credit us in the end credits. It's fine. We'll start pulling strings. Let's see what happens.
And the strings are only 3 inches long, so they're not going to go far.
The catch is the strings aren't really connected to anything. We're just pulling them. we're just pulling them along a surface. It's totally fine. Next question. Let's move on. Sean from Detroit, Michigan says this. I'm a new listener. Got wind of you guys looking for fun and informative video games and Nintendo podcasts to listen to while I'm driving around in my work truck. I'm a municipal utility worker, and I've got to say that I'm very happy I found your podcast. It's exactly what I was looking for. I'm not a dad myself unless you count pets. You probably don't. Do you count pets, Jesse?
Sure, why not? I have pets too.
Fur dad. That's what you're a fur dad. That's what you are. But I love getting a different perspective on what it means to be a gamer and kind of passing the interest down to your kids and balancing games with life and responsibility. It's good to hear this should I end up in Nintendo/gamer dad myself down the road. Anyway, down to why I'm writing Beyond Praise. In episode 171, you guys talked about the problem with third-party brand docks. I hear all these issues and dangers, so my question is, what's so bad about the regular Nintendo brand dock? My girlfriend and I both got a Switch first day and have heard of potential problems with the dock scratching the screen. So the next thing we did was order Switch screen protectors from Amazon, about $10 each, if I recall, and they arrived a few days later. Here we are a little over a year later, and neither of us have had any issues. While I admit the dock isn't perfect and does feel too close to the console, simple protection makes me pretty comfortable taking my Switch in and out. I buy screen protectors for my phones and DS systems, so buying for the Switch seemed like a no-brainer. I want to know if any one of you did as I did, and would also recommend that to people instead of wasting money on a faulty third-party dock and risk losing all that game data. Thanks for reading. I'm thrilled to be listening weekly now, and I've got plenty of backlog episodes to get me through long work drives. Keep on rocking, guys. Hope to stay in touch. Cheers. So
first,
the question is...
Definitely, yes, all of our systems, all of our Switches have a screen protector on it. I still have the original plastic one that I bought before I bought the nice glass ones.
Yeah.
I still have... I bought like two packs. So I think my daughter's used one. I think my son's used one. So I still have two more I haven't used yet that I plan on putting on mine. I just haven't gotten around to it.
The absolute best Switch screen protector that is also the easiest one to put on that I've found is made by Amfilm. Yeah, you can get these on Amazon in a 2-pack for $10.
I think that's the one I have.
There is really no reason to buy any other. Because if you're trying to put on a protective film or a little flimsy plastic thing, those are like the clarity on the Amfilm screen protector is phenomenal, and it is just a pane of glass that you put over the front of your Switch. I've actually got one of these on the Switch I own. My son will have one on the Switch he owns. We've got one on our youth room Switch here at the church. There's no reason to get anything else. They're the best. They're the cheapest, and they're Prime on Amazon Prime, so you can get them in 2 days.
But as for what you asked about what was wrong with the original Nintendo dock, basically the price. So people wanted the cheaper alternative. Other than it's a good. I think the dock's a good product. Other than there was the people who didn't have screen protectors did have a little scrapey going on, but with the screen protector on, that pretty much solves that.
My thing, going back to that whole thing, and it came up and then it died down really quick, but like, were people just taking? I want to my mental image is of people like taking their Nintendo Switch consoles like Shaq and going like over their back and over their head and slam dunking it down into the dock. Like, what were you doing to cause such abrasions on the front and back of your Switch? Like, it's a $300 piece of sensitive tech. You don't take it and slam it down into the dock. And I'm sure there were like a few cases of people who were very careful with it and it's still scratched. But man, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was thinking about maybe putting a layer of felt on the inside, but then I thought maybe that might cause overheating.
Right, yeah. Because the Switch does get pretty hot depending on what game you're playing.
And especially more so in dock, because now it's using the extra power it's available to it to render 1080p. Or, yeah, 1080p. Where handheld,
absolutely, and
handheld doesn't use all that power.
Jesse, I think your comment is exactly on point, that people did not want to pay $90 for this. And so as soon as a half price alternative hit the market with the Nyko dock, they were, it was a no-brainer for a lot of people, and myself included.
Right. Because I know I never bought an extra dock. We have 3 docks just because we have 3 Switches. And right now, there's only 2 of them are attached to a TV.
Right.
So, and the third dock actually got destroyed because I remember I gutted it to put it into a smaller shell. So it's still Nintendo parts, so it wouldn't have damaged it. But the unit itself just failed on me. It wouldn't get power. So we're actually down to 2 docks.
Gotcha. So, Sean, thanks for the question. I hope we cleared that up. I think again, it's cost, and it's just that people want something that's a little more convenient to carry around, something a little more cheaper. Last question comes from Julian Willoughby, who is one of our new patron backers. This is a bit of a long one, so settle in, guys. Here's what he says: I love the show. Just became a Patreon backer and wanted to share a little bit of my story on becoming a dad and rediscovering gaming. On Christmas Eve, before the January Switch announcement event last year, my wife and I found out we were going to be first time parents. Having spent the last decade going through medical school and residency, I had found my gaming time sharply diminished to just rare occasions on an Xbox or to catch up with an old college buddy over a game of Halo or Destiny. I grew up very much in a Nintendo household and have fond memories of NES, SNES, N64, and even the Virtual Boy.
Sweet.
However, I think my gaming path has probably followed that of many other in my generation and demographic. Like many, GoldenEye was the first real introduction to first-person shooters. I can remember many late nights of four-screen multiplayer battles with middle school buddies. Then, as I moved into high school and had my own job and money, my first console, not bought by my parents, was the original Xbox, and of course with Halo. I stuck with the Halos and Call of Duty games throughout college and didn't really touch Nintendo, which at the time seemed to be kiddie. Of course, I played Wii Sports at a few parties, but never realized all the good stuff I was missing. However, with discovering the Switch and with your podcast, all that has changed. When my wife saw me watching the original Switch announcement live, she off the cuff said, "Oh, we should get that." And with one phrase, my gaming life was rejuvenated. With my wife's unwitting approval, I got the Switch on day one and haven't looked back all year. My wife does not game at all, and she even put in 60 hours in Breath of the Wild. My wife never touched my Xbox, but the Switch has become something we're able to play together. From Zelda to Snipper Clips and even SteamWorld Dig 2, we've had a great year in gaming together. Our son came into this world in September, and now that I am a dad, the Switch seems like the only way I could ever get a little gaming time in. I bought a brand new Xbox One X and 4K TV and barely touched both, but I managed to get a few minutes in on the Switch in bed every night. I can't help but think that there are many other folks out there in the mid-30s demographic who are starting families and getting super busy and dropping these high-end consoles for the family-oriented, nostalgia-filled, super convenient, and just plain fun Nintendo Switch. Have you guys heard of similar stories? I think this is a part of the huge success. Thanks so much for all you do. I look forward to listening every week. Man, Julian, thanks so much for being a patron, a new listener, and congratulations on becoming a first-time dad. What an awesome thing. And congratulations on the Switch purchase as well, which has reignited your passion for gaming. You know, I do hear lots of people who talk about the Switch getting them back into gaming. In fact, I was at an event earlier tonight, and there was a guy there who works at a nearby elementary school, and I had been telling him the whole time, like anytime I saw him, like he would be like, "Man, how's the Switch?" Because he knew I had one. He knew I'd gotten one like from the very beginning, and I would always tell him, "Look, dude, you got to get a Switch. You got to get a Switch. They're fantastic." I was even telling him that back in March of last year, when it wasn't certain that it was going to be a hit. You got to get a Switch. You got to get a Switch. It will change the way you play games. And he walked by me tonight as he's going into this event, and he looks right at me and he's like, "Dude, you were so right about the Switch. Thank you so much for recommending it." And like for people who have kids or teenagers in their house, this is the system I am recommending for them constantly. You need to get a Switch. Don't think about the Xbox. I'm sure there's great games on there, and I know there's great games on there. There's like God of War and Sea of Thieves and all kinds of stuff. But the thing is that I'm finding and others are finding is you can't take those games with you, really, like you can with the Switch. And that is the edge that the console has. And so, like in it too, like the Switch and being on the show has reignited my love for gaming in the last year and a half. And I know it's doing that for a lot of other people. Jesse, have you heard any of that? Like maybe even experienced it firsthand?
I kind of experienced it, but of course it was several generations ago. So I grew up Nintendo. I did have a friend that had the Mega Drive or Genesis. So I got to play a little bit of both sides of that. Then just like most people, as soon as they get married, and start having kids, they don't have the time. They kind of fall out of gaming, and I fell out of gaming. Though I still had an N64. I've had every Nintendo console since, at one point or another, except for the Virtual Boy, which I highly regret. But I did have an N64 and played a little bit, but didn't have a lot of games for it, and didn't have a lot of time for it. And then when the GameCube came out, I didn't have the time, so I didn't even bother with the GameCube. So but at one point I decided to get, it was actually shortly after I got divorced from my first wife. So now I have time, magic. So I picked up a PlayStation 2 and a GameCube and was able to, get more into gaming, and I've pretty much been nonstop ever since. So ever since that, I've had the PlayStation and Nintendo product in my house. For every generation since.
Yeah. Congratulations to Nintendo. I think that they're doing something that is just really cool in this generation. They did it with the Wii, and they didn't really do it with the Wii U, but they've done it with the Switch in subverting the way that we play games and the way that we consume gaming media, really. Yeah. They did it with the Wii by making motion controls normal. They're doing it now with the Switch by making it where you can take any game with you on the go and play it anywhere you want to, and even alter the way that you play it. I was looking through our Twitter feed earlier tonight, and somebody, well, it wasn't our Twitter feed, it was our Discord, and somebody had posted a picture of his son or daughter playing Kirby with cousins. And the Switch was sitting on the fireplace, like the bottom part of the fireplace, and they were playing it with Joy-Cons. And you can't do that with Xbox. You can't do that with other systems. You can't take like the whole system with you. I guess is my point. I mean, you can do that, if it's plugged into the TV or whatever, but you can't take the whole system with you and have it screen and all. I mean, for years, the dream like that I had was, they would make those little portable screens that you could attach to the top of your consoles. It's like, oh, it's portable.
Like I seen those with like PlayStation 1.
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's portable, but like, how are you going to play it in the car? That was the point. Now with the Switch, of course you can play it in the car. Yeah. Or of course you can play it in the airport or the airplane or the classroom or wherever. And it's just genius.
Yeah. A little bit off topic, but kind of related. So someone in our Patreon chat posted a video of someone rigged up this device. It was like a 10-inch tablet or TV that had a battery pack attached to its back to give it power, and then on the sides were Joy-Con. Basically, he had the Joy-Con paired to the PS4 and had wireless HDMI going on to connect to that TV. So he was able to play on think of the size of the Switch, but twice the size. Play his PS4 like that, but he still had to be within Bluetooth range and the wireless HDMI range of the system. So it's not something he can take on the bus, because of more like Wii U range, but maybe a little bit further than Wii U range. But just the fact that he was able to do that with a PS4, I'm like, no, if I had that, I might actually get Dragon Quest XI and play it that way. But of course, I'd still be fighting time with my son on the PS4 because he likes to play Fortnite.
But for now, you just have to wait for the Switch.
Yep. But that video was amazing. And I didn't watch the end of it, but apparently he walks through what he did to build it, so you can kind of duplicate his efforts.
Interesting. Well, that's all of our listener mail.
Yes. So to wrap up the show, we're going to kind of do a quick reminder again. Retro Rewind. We will record Wednesday night. Not 100% sure of the time yet. It'll probably be, I'd say 8 o'clock Central Time at the minimum, up to 10 o'clock our normal time to record, for the start time. So watch Twitter tweets. We'll live stream it like normal, and then we'll have the Nintendo directors on as the guests for that. So if you have, again, questions or comments, especially if it's about music, let us know in email or on Twitter, and we'll try to mention those on the show. So we want to thank our Patreon producers, Chris, Dave, and Timothy. And don't forget to check us out. If help us out, even as low as $1 a month on Patreon to help out. We all thank you for that. And follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Nintendo Dads. If you have, email us at nintendodads@gmail.com. And if you want to leave a voicemail, you can call us at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. So, thanks again to OC Remix for the music we use throughout the show, and to Adam and I forget her name,
Carter
for our artwork that we use. So I guess thanks Marty and for the missing Justin and Zach. Good night.
Bye-bye.